All right, I'm back home. It's April 21st, Monday. So start doing this again on a regular basis, weekly. I'll try. So anyway, let's take a look at the the market from a longer term perspective. In this case, the weekly. Just give you a sense of where we are. So like we talked about previously, we saw the market got into this upper range, if you will, in here. Tried to break out to the upside, failed. Came back in to this range, and then actually broke down below this range, which actually was somewhat troubling. But in true sideways action, it popped right back into the range here. So in a way, at least for now, this as long as you stay above this lower end of that range, uh, we were basically neutral on a yeah. I mean, definitely in a tactical sense. In the strategic sense, we're still in a bull market, so nothing to get too excited about if you are long term in this market. Of course, we know if you're in some of the real speculative plays, yeah, being in a bull market sometimes doesn't matter. You still can lose all your money. This just tells us right now which way the wind's blowing, and right now the wind is basically calm because we haven't been able to really pop up higher, and then even going lower, we come back into the range. Uh, One thing just to keep in mind down here is the DMI, which is basically an indication of trend, and as you can see, focus on the yellow line, and this yellow line just keeps trending lower, meaning that we've had a pretty strong uptrend, and that basically now is dissipated. So we're basically not in that strong uptrend anymore, and the market, like you know, shouldn't be any news flash. We are sort of in a sideways market, which basically tells us there's no trend at this point. So until we really get this yellow line to start peaking up again, and when that happens, that should either tell us that we're going to start a new uptrend, or we're actually going to start a new downtrend, if you will. But right now, the market looks pretty good. It's still, above this, pretty aggressive trend line. So nothing to be too concerned about at this point, especially on the long term. So if we drill down, let's just take a look at the Nasdaq, and the same on the weekly. Just that was the S&P basically. So again, the Nasdaq is a little bit troubling because we did break this accelerated down uptrend line. Again, not so much of a big deal, being that there's nothing yellow here, nothing telling us that we're starting a downtrend. Same thing here with the trend indicator; it's still going lower, although we had this red, means that we started a little bit of a downtrend. But last week was a nice reversal to that downtrend. So, and if you remember my presentation on the MXRS, here's your MXRS indicator on the weekly in the Nasdaq, telling us that, hey, this is somewhat of a market extreme we hit here last week. We're kind of due for a bounce, which did happen. Another good thing is, this low of early February kind of held. I think maybe we took it out by a few, ticks, not a big deal, but for all intents and purposes, that support line is held. So that's our line in the sand at this point, and we'd like to see the market sort of reestablish itself, definitely above this line, and maybe see what happens this week. Tactically, I'd almost like to see the market come in just a little bit, and then give us that gasoline to maybe go back higher if that's what it wants to do. So that's the weekly. Let's take a look at the daily, in a more of a tactical sense here. So what we have here is the S&P on a daily basis, and you can see here that last week's rally in the market actually is much more evident here. And even here we had the MXRS. Was it Friday? Yeah, that was like Friday of the previous week. We had a MXRS setup, and then sure enough, the market responded to that, and now we had this basically told us that was a confirmed move off the market extreme. So that's a very bullish indicator. As you can tell, the prior ones, every time we had an MXRS, we got that yellow bar, we actually continued higher here. In this case, we had it, but it took a little while for it to actually get for that MXRS to be confirmed. But then again, once that was confirmed, we had a nice uptrend following. So that being said, market looks pretty good here. I'd like to see it sort of establish itself along here. This would basically be our next resistance, that 1875-ish level here. We could basically draw a line right there. That will be our next resistance. And really, if we get above that, that tells me that this whole down move becomes past, you know, and we may want to establish ourselves going higher. So so that's the S&P, you know. And again, right now in all the oscillators, we're right in the middle of the range, so we're not overbought, or, you know, by any means. RSI is almost, you know, a little bit, you know, of course it's not an extreme, but like I said, everything looks good at this point tactically. As far as setups, nothing too exciting, because you know, unfortunately, what I like to see in these situations, these MXRS situations, is getting stocks that are at or near highs, and stocks that actually had the bounce were stocks that were at or near lows. So kind of you know, again, it was in a way an oversold bounce in the high beta names, and we'll see how far that goes. Here's the NASDAQ over here on a daily base, and again, here's that MXRS. Here's the confirmation. So what I really want to see is us to get back above this trend line right here. But I think that's the 100-day. So let's see where the the 100-day would be the next level of yeah, 100-day and 50 is way up here. So I'd really like to see us you know, break above this sort of downtrend in the market, but we'll see what happens. So really, that's it as far as the indexes are concerned. Nice bounce. We'll see what happens. We're sort of still stuck in this range. As far as setups, not too much to get excited about. I'll do a second part of this video to go over some of the stocks that are near and dear to you, and maybe some other things that look exciting. All right, talk to you in a little bit.